Okay, everybody, welcome. Welcome. First day of school, first day of class. So, today is generally just going to be understanding how this class is going to work, how the class is going to function. Let me make sure I got all my settings right. Looks like it. Just getting to know how this class is going to operate, because it's going to be kind of it's probably going to be a bit of a wild ride for most of you because it's just so fast. It's just so incredibly fast. So I'm going to kind of introduce myself, get you used to what the expectations for the class are, what the expectations are for you and to be successful in the course, and what it's going to take to be successful in the course, and all that kind of stuff. And I hope I don't come off as too negative on the first day, but I want to make sure everyone understands what's involved in the class. So I'm just trying to be honest. Like, this is what you're getting into. That way, 2-3 weeks from now, the reality of the amount of work you're going to have to do in this class sort of sets in, and then it's too late. You're going to end up with an F or something. And I'm not trying to be discouraging at all. I just think honesty is good, so you as a student can make a responsible decision as to exactly what you want to get into and what you don't, and if it's a good idea and if it's not. So I'll just kind of introduce a few things to get started, and then we'll kind of work through everything. So for starters, there's two ways of consuming these class meetings. The class meetings do take place on a regular basis. I highly encourage you to be there. There's the YouTube stream and the Zoom meeting. So as you can see in the Zoom meeting, because this is actually taking place on two different devices, the Zoom meeting, you can't really see what's going on behind me, right? So when I'm trying to point things out, you're not going to really be able to see them much on the Zoom meeting, but some people prefer to be in the Zoom meeting, and then you can easily ask me a question. You're welcome to put questions or comments in either of the chats, right? Either Zoom chat or YouTube chat. Totally welcome to throw a comment in there. Sometimes I'll wait and I won't respond to it because maybe I want to finish what I'm saying, and then I'll address your question at like a time that I think makes more sense to address it. But that actually works really well. Throw it in there, and then I might forget, and then I'll come back to it. I can see it over there in chat, and then answer your question at the time I think makes the most amount of sense. It's not really intrusive because you're not really stopping me from talking. Like, in class, if you interrupt me, it kind of throws me off maybe for a few seconds. But in here, if you throw it into chat, perfectly fine. If you're watching the YouTube stream, then you can actually see I have stuff behind me on the screen that I'll be showing you. So I'll show you how to go through Canvas. I'll show you where the different stuff is located. You're welcome to listen to it however you want. What I don't recommend is, if it's like some people like to watch both, but don't have the sound on for both, because the YouTube stream is delayed. I don't know, it varies, 5 to 10 seconds. And so that you get like a weird echo, and it's really distracting. So I would say if you're going to watch both, just have the sound on one. If most of your generation is fairly comfortable on YouTube, or I should say most of the people in this class are from a generation very comfortable with YouTube. If you prefer that, go watch the stream on YouTube. You can throw stuff in the chat over there. If you want to stay in Zoom, stay over here. It makes no difference to me which one you watch. Just be aware you're not going to be getting as good of visuals on Zoom, but you're welcome to be in one or the other or both. Really, it's up to you. I offered the two forms. Now, the YouTube streams are automatically archived. Well, not quite. I have to kind of archive them. But what that means is if for some reason you're sick or something happens and you can't come to the class meeting, you can go to my channel and you can watch that video later. I will create a playlist specifically for this class. Now, be careful. You're my third statistics class this semester, and in something that I'm actually finding rather confusing, all three of those stats classes started on a different date. One started in August, one started in September, one is starting today. So occasionally I get confused about what I said to one class versus another. This one's my only afternoon class, so I should always remember what class I'm in when I'm in here. But if you go to watch a YouTube video on my channel, make sure you're not watching one of the other classes, because you won't understand what I'm talking about, because they're a couple months ahead, right? So make sure that you find the one for the, and I put the date and time as the title. So if you're in the YouTube stream right now, you can see it's called MV44 Noon and then the date. So my other stats classes take place at different times. So as long as you're looking for the date and time of the class you missed, you should be watching the right one. Okay. So you're welcome to do that. I do encourage you to watch the videos though. This semester there are a lot of people who are sending me emails that clearly aren't watching the videos because they're questions that they're easily answered if you're just watching the videos to understand what's going on. And I don't even mean statistic stuff. I mean asking questions like, well, how am I supposed to do the project? Well, I explained all that in class. Watch the video. And then if you still have questions, by all means, come ask me questions. But don't skip the videos and then just think you're going to ask me a bunch of questions. That's likely to end up in your project is going to be poor if you do it that way, and then you're not going to end up passing, right? So please make sure you watch the videos, and then by all means, if you have questions, come talk to me in office hours. But when students show up to office hours and they haven't watched any of the videos for the course, they basically don't know anything, and there's kind of an expectation that I'm going to catch them all up in 15 minutes. There's a reason that all these videos are out there. You kind of need to go through them and hear everything I have to say. So please watch the videos. Don't blow off the class meetings and then think you're still going to get through. It's not going to work, right? So there's that. With that said, I do have actually I don't have that. That's my other class. Never mind. I was thinking of a different class for a minute. Right. Anyways, this class has a few weird things about it because it's such a shortened class, and I was just trying to think about a technical thing that I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to drop students, but I'm supposed to do it in 2 days. But it's kind of hard to know who's participating. That's part of our contract. It's hard to know who's still participating in the course 2 days from now because that's so soon. Some of you won't even have the homework set up yet. So, yeah, so that one's a little tricky. We meet again, on Thursday? Yeah, we'll talk about it on Thursday. So here's where we're at. You're taking statistics, and you're doing it in 5 weeks or something. Let's see. Let's take a look. So we go to the calendar. Oh, and also you're a Tuesday, Thursday class, which means you got 2 holidays coming up in November. So we got what? Week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Basically a 6-week class, except we don't meet for 2 of those Thursdays. If I can get that up. We don't meet for 2 Thursdays, so we only meet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. We're gonna meet 9 times for this course. So you kind of want to understand how this course works. If we were in a traditional on-ground statistics class, we would be meeting for 4 hours a week for 18 weeks. So that's what, around 72 hours, something like that? You would have 72 hours of course instruction. As is, you're going to get 14 because that's when this class is scheduled to meet because we're online. That should tell you there's going to be a whole lot of stuff that doesn't get talked about in class. So I'm saying it's very important to watch the class meetings, but you can't just rely on the class meetings, right? Sometimes, a student will say, oh, well, you didn't talk about this in class. Right. I'm at 1/5 of the amount of hours that I have to talk about stuff that I normally would. It's impossible for me to cover this class in 14 hours, especially since half of that is going to be talking to you about how to do the project that you're going to do and how to set up the class and how to get your homework set up and what, all this kind of stuff that we have to get through. That's going to take half the time. So very little actual statistical instruction will take place in class. There just isn't time for that. So how does that work then? How's this going to work? Oh, by the way, I didn't even introduce myself. Dr. Frederick. So I've been, grew up in Northern California, went to Colorado for grad school, ended up in Washington State teaching full-time for 4 years, and then got back to California. This is, I think, is this year 8 or 9 or something at Ventura College, teaching full-time. I've taught stats a ton of times. I started teaching it I taught it up in Washington, and then I didn't teach it down here just because of the the way we pick classes, you have to sort of take all this as a whole strategy so you can make sure you get your units filled and stuff. But California State changed the way the laws work for the way we run math departments in the community college. And one of the results of that is there's a whole lot more stats classes. So starting about 3 years ago, I started teaching stats, right? Because you could kind of see the future. Oh, you got to teach stats because it's going to be like 40% of our offerings. So I've been teaching 2 or 3 stats a semester for like 3 years now. So I think I have it pretty well dialed in as far as what works and what doesn't. But because of the nature of this class, you're really going to have to be motivated and ready to go in order to complete this class successfully, right? So it's hard. It's a big challenge. I mean, I almost think it's a little bit crazy that we offer this class, but you're going to have to be ready to go, right? I'll have students come to me and they say, oh, right, but, it's fast, but I hear that you instructors make it easier when it's a short class. That is not true at all, right? Oh, by the way, anyone who's looking, I don't know if anyone's on the wait list, there's another section, another 6-week session that's being offered, and it only has like 12 students in it. So as a department, we kind of decided I shouldn't add anyone, and anyone who wants to add or is on the wait list should go to that other session and sign up because that one is super low. So if anybody's wondering about that. That's kind of the approach you should take. But it is not true that we make these courses easier. We can't, because the way it works is you're taking this course, right? But probably 95% of you are taking this course because you want it to count towards part of your degree requirements, which you will ultimately get from some university, whether it's Channel Islands or UCSB or something else in the valley or, whatever college you end up transferring from. They're going to go, oh, you took statistics at Ventura College? Okay, we'll check that off. You took statistics and they're good for your degree requirement. The only reason they take that transfer is because they trust that we do a good job teaching statistics at this college, right? Not every college takes every school's transfer classes. It depends. Like we basically get evaluated on our classes, and if a school doesn't think we're doing a good enough job, they won't take that as a transfer class. They won't acknowledge that you took it, right? Some of you who may have been to college in the past have had to do this. When you go to college, when you transfer, someone at the college looks over your transcript and says, okay, we'll take this history class. We're not going to acknowledge this English class. Like, you got to take that over, that whole thing. If we make these 5-week classes or 6-week classes too easy, those colleges will say they don't do a very good job at Ventura College, and they'll stop taking it at stop taking it as a transfer. So the whole reason you're taking this class is so it can transfer, but it won't transfer if we don't make it a legit statistics course. Does it? Maybe I need to check the someone said it ends on the 3rd. I thought this class ended right before finals. Let me look though. Maybe this is kind of a new format they're doing. Let's take a look. Schedule should be right up here. I think originally maybe they changed something. Let's see. Fall 2021, Ventura College and math. Search. Control F. Frederick. Oh, you were right. That is weird. 12/3. Okay, I'm going to have to change a couple of dates. It is a 5-week class. That's strange that they did that. Usually they end the week before finals, but you're right. I didn't notice that. Okay, thanks for pointing that out to me, Destiny. I definitely appreciate it. I will have to make some adjustment in the dates, and that's a little faster for you all then. Thanks for pointing that out. So we'll take care of that. That's the first time I've seen one end that early, which is kind of interesting. Anyways, what I'm getting at, this is a legitimate statistics class. This isn't like the easy, okay, that we're going to rush people through and say they took statistics. I actually have to teach statistics, and I have to be able to defend this course that it was the same course that we do the other ones. So just kind of be aware of that. You are going to take 18 weeks of material in 5 weeks is what we signed up for here. So that's fast. And I get what it's like. I had to wait, I waited tables for 9 years while I was going through college. I spent 4 years at community college because I couldn't pick a major. 3 years working on my math degree at the college, and then I went to grad school for 6 years. I spent 9 years waiting tables to get myself through school. I know what it's like. You're all busy, right? Usually at that age, people don't have very much money. You're trying to work some jobs so you can scratch some money together. You could probably got family obligations. Some of you have kids. Some of you have parents that need attention. I know it's super hard. And there's a good likelihood that many of you are taking other classes. I would be very careful taking this course if you have too much on your plate, because you're going to be doing, and now that it's a week shorter, you're going to be doing between 2 and 3 chapters a week in this class, which means roughly every 2.5 days, you're going through a chapter. That's pretty fast, right? So you're really going to have to be in the right mindset in order to be successful in this class. You're going to have the right motivation. You're going to have to be thinking like, here we go. I mean, the next month of your life is essentially going to be, if you're awake, you're working on this class or something else. Like, you're going to be very, very busy. So just keep that in mind. Not trying to scare anyone, but I just want you to understand what you're getting into. It's going to be, you're going through 18 weeks of material in 5 weeks. So it's going to move quickly. Good news is we don't have any exams, but there is a project. I find that the project works significantly better. Actually, my students are learning a lot better since this class has become project-based, the way I teach it, rather than exam-based. So I think that's actually better, in my opinion. What students used to do was they would memorize how to do problems, but they would have no idea what they were doing. But they'd memorize what buttons to push on the calculator. They'd put a p-value in the thing. They'd get an answer and go, okay, I got 100% on this. But then if you asked them, like, well, what did that do? What did you just do? And they go, I don't know, but I could push some buttons on the calculator. When it's project-based, you actually have to understand the material. You have to understand what a confidence interval is. You have to understand what correlation is, and all these concepts. And that's why we're here, right? Is to understand all that stuff. That's why we offer these classes at the colleges, for people to learn what statistics is about. That's what the colleges that are going to give you credit for this course, that's what they want you to have learned, which is what statistics is really about, not just memorizing some buttons on a calculator. So we meet twice a week, and we have, hour and 15 minutes where we're going to show up and talk. At least all of today, and possibly part of next time, we'll still be talking about how the class is set up and how things are going to work. So there's the class meetings in the syllabus. Some of you recognized I had a typo in the syllabus where I had, and also like in here, and maybe even in where class meetings was, I had the wrong time here. When I copied the course over from my other statistics class, I forgot to change that. So thanks to the people who pointed that out to me, so I could go in and make that edit. If there's any other confusing stuff, feel free to email me about it, and I'll try to clear it up as soon as I can, so there's no confusion, right? And then I believe the updated syllabus. This should be my updated syllabus in there, ready to go for you. So if you're ever confused, right? I get emails sometimes. I kind of have to prioritize emails because since we're distance learning, a lot of my job is responding to emails. If you're asking me something that's in the syllabus, I might not respond to it, right? Because I'm probably using that time to respond to students where the question, like, they actually need me to answer it, right? If your question is in the syllabus, you don't really need me to answer it. You just need to read the syllabus. But if you're asking me, I don't understand confidence intervals. I keep trying to do it at this confidence level, and I'm getting the wrong interval. That student needs me to respond to them, right? They need my help. Whereas if it's just reading a paragraph in the syllabus, you decided it was easier to email me than to read the syllabus, then you don't really need me, right? So I kind of prioritize the students who need me to do that. So read the syllabus. Some of you already did. Give yourself a pat on the back. You have good student skills. Keep that up. You'll be fine. So come to the class meetings. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend it. You can ask me questions. I get questions about the project. I get questions about different stuff. Let's see. There's a question here. Are the due dates corrected now? For example, are the homework assignments actually due today? There shouldn't be one due today, is there? Oh, why didn't this... Wait a minute. Why didn't this update? Oh. You know what I did? I set all... Okay. These tools get more and more complicated sort of as each month goes by. I know what I did. I forgot to hit a sync button. So the due dates in my math lab are set up, and the due dates in here didn't sync with it because I didn't resync after I set the due date. So long story short, and it looks like I'm going to have to correct a couple due dates anyways because we actually end a week earlier than I was expecting. I will change those due dates. In fact, I'm putting it on my list right now. So stats, 5-week due dates. I will update that immediately after class, and it might take an hour or something for the software to sync, and then the new dates should show up. But you have at least a few days to get started. Okay, so don't panic today. You don't have anything due today yet. Yeah, so that's a good question. Thanks for asking that. I thought I had hit sync, but apparently I did not. So I will take care of that. So what you want to do, see how you've got this Get My Lab access? So you have, basically it's not going to cost you anything. Okay, because there's two things going on. You get 14-day free access, and that's like half the course anyways. But also this semester, the bookstore, well, actually the college will purchase your stats software for you. So what you do is you go to the bookstore and you tell the bookstore you're in my class, and they'll say, okay, we have the software for you. And they will, if you go there in person, they're going to just give you the software and you get to leave. And basically what the bookstore does is they just make a list, and then at the end of each week or month, they just charge the school, and the school pays for the stats software. So it doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to buy a book or anything for this class. You're good to go. Okay, but even if, like, let's just say and also you can email or call the bookstore and do it that way. The only thing is if you're doing it remotely, they actually need your credit card, and it's kind of confusing. My understanding is they're going to charge you $0 on your credit card, but they need some kind of a transaction or something. I guess it's easier if you go to campus, but getting to the bookstore is harder physically to get to the bookstore, but then the transaction is easier if you go there. But at the end of the day, contact the bookstore, whether you want to go there in person or you want to do it remotely. Get a hold of the bookstore, say, this is the class that I'm in. They have your schedule or whatever. Say, this is the class I'm in. I need the software, and they will give it to you. It won't cost you anything. If you can't do that, maybe you're in a situation where you're like, my life's crazy today. I can't make it over there. You can still set up your account and start the homework because you get 14-day free access. So every one of you can work on the homework starting today, especially once I get the dates updated. You can actually, I may have to sync it before you can get in there, but it shouldn't take too long. So that means like later tonight, you could start working on stuff, okay, with this free access. So that's right here. If you can see if you're on YouTube, it's right at the beginning of that orientation module. It tells you how to go in and set up the free access. And then down here, it tells you how to upgrade to the full access paid, but you don't have to pay for it. The school, Ventura College, is paying for it. I don't know if they're continuing that into the spring or not. Now, do be aware, the school has implemented a vaccine mandate. So if you're going to go onto campus physically, and this includes everyone, everyone, you have to be screened. You have to go through the screening process. Like myself, if you're vaccinated and you have shown the school, and in the VCCD app on your phone, you can just take a picture of your vaccine card and upload it to the school, and then they'll verify, okay, yep, that's a legitimate vaccine card, and I don't know, somewhere a little box gets checked, and it says this person has had the vaccine. So now when I go to campus, I just answer the little questionnaire, get on campus, and I'm fine. If you are not vaccinated, it's harder to get on campus. If you're not vaccinated, you have to be getting 2 tests a week, or there's all these different, actually that might have ended already. I don't know. Each week the rules change, but basically there's a vaccine mandate in place. You all should have received emails about it, so read those more in depth if you want to know for sure. But if you can't just go there, park in the parking lot, and walk to the bookstore, you have to jump through a few hoops in order to, like, they give you a wristband. If you're walking around campus and you don't have the wristband, you get escorted from campus. Like, the bookstore is not going to work with you if you don't have the wristband. Like, they seem to be taking it pretty seriously, which is good. So just be aware of that, right? It's harder to get to the bookstore, but then once you get in there, I've heard the process is really easy for getting your license. If you're going to do it through email or phone, there's a couple extra hoops you have to jump through, but then you don't have to do the screening process on campus. Okay? And if you have any questions about that, stick around and I'll ask you, or you can ask me about that. Okay? So that's kind of goal number one, because you can't really do much of anything until you get the homework set up, right? Until you get that process set up and ready to go. So there's an optional set of notebooks. Some students find this helpful. They like to print out this notebook and they use it to follow along, and it's kind of like fill in the notes. Some of you probably had this in high school. They're optional. You don't get points for them. It's just there if it's going to help you organize your work as you go through and do things, then print them out and use them. If you don't want to use these printable notebooks, don't use them. They're not worth points. I'm not going to get upset if you don't use them. There's a lot to do this semester. I think notebooks is the thing that, like, if this notebook system doesn't work for you, don't use it. Okay. You will get StatCrunch, which is a statistical software, automatically free with your software. The homework software that you get from the bookstore will also give you access to StatCrunch, which you will need to use not only to do the homework problems, but also to do your project. And we're going to have to move through that project pretty quickly because it's due in a month from tomorrow. So we're going to move quickly. I will talk a lot about the project in class, right? So I highly encourage you to show up, right? So that you can learn how to do that project in a way that you get a good grade on and then pass the class. So basically, there's these three first modules in Canvas are just learning how to do stuff, right? Different various stuff. Here's stuff about StatCrunch. Here's stuff about signing up for the homework, getting the access. Here's your syllabus, your class meeting. So those top three modules, if you forget something, probably the information's in there. Right, you forget how things work. And then you'll see we get into the different chapters. And each chapter, it's a chapter from the book that we're using. Although we don't have a physical book, it's more like a video book. It's like multimedia, which has actually worked really well. This is my, I guess, second semester using it, but it's worked quite well. Each one of these you can see, although the dates are wrong because I didn't hit that sync button. In fact, maybe I can just do it now. I wonder if I can just do it. Let's go into, where's settings? Trying to remember where sync is. It's a sync button somewhere. Oh, I bet it's over here. Oh, here we go. Sync. Go to grades. Let's see. Grade sync. Okay, I think it's going to take a few minutes. It's going to sync all these assignments. We'll see if those grades update. Yeah, there it goes. It's starting to sync them all. We'll see if that updates during class. Okay, so where was I? So then you get into like chapter 1, and what you're going to see for each section, there's a lesson and an assessment. So the lesson is where you're going to learn stuff. The assessment, think of that as a homework assignment. So you notice they're both worth points. Now they are weighted a little bit differently in the final grade, right? They each say they're worth 13 points, but the assessment points are worth a little more than the lesson points. But you still got to do them all, because the lesson is where you like have little videos and stuff that teach you the different parts of statistics. So you're going to want to watch the lesson, and then it asks you questions. That's where the points come from. Is like it'll teach you like, here's what the mean is. Can you calculate the mean of these 5 numbers? And if you get it right, then it knows like, okay, you learned that, and it moves you on to the next thing, right? Once you've gone through those videos, then you have the assessment to do, which is your homework assignment, and then you can get in and do that. So you want to be moving through pretty readily. Let's see, I wonder if I update this. Oh, yep, see, here we go. So now that I hit that sync button, look how some of the dates are updated. Now I am going to have to change some of those dates on the back end. So we're actually going to have to go a little faster than I'd liked. We're already moving faster. Oh yeah, some of them haven't sunk yet. They didn't sync yet. So you can see some of them are still old, but up here in this chapter, they're updated, right? These dates are new. So anyways, the idea is you want to be working through lessons and assessments. So basically, you're going to start at the top in chapter 1, and you're going to work your way down through the bottom. Now, here in a few days, you're going to have to submit survey questions to me. So basically what you do at the end of each of these chapter modules, there usually is something relating to your final project. Okay? The project is what you do instead of exams in this course. So you want to do these because, first of all, you're actually doing part of the work for your project along the way after each chapter. And then what you're going to do at the end of the class is you're going to take all this previous work that you did, bring it together, and make your video. So if you're doing it well, if you're really trying to do a good job, most of your work will be done on the project by late November. And then what you do is you're going to make a video, or like a short video presenting your information, and you submit that to me as it's basically your final project, your final exam. The video should be at least 10 minutes. If it doesn't take 10 minutes, then I really have to wonder, like, did you not learn any of the stuff? Like, how do you not come up with 10 minutes to talk about from an entire stats course? Basically, what's going to happen here, well, before I go into that, the stats project, so your video should be at least 10 minutes. The ones that are really good, they get A's, are usually more like 15 to 20, but don't worry about the time because it's not like I time them and say this was a good video, this was a bad one. But the video is just your chance to communicate to me what you learned, right? It's not like we're doing publishable statistics here that's going to end up in a statistics journal or something, right? I just need to know how well you learned the material. And that's how you want to view your project, is your opportunity to show me what you learned. If something isn't in the project related to your questions, then I'm going to assume you didn't learn that, right? If you don't put a hypothesis test in there and talk about it, I don't think this person learned hypothesis tests. If it's missing confidence intervals or correlation or regression, I'm going to go, why didn't they? Maybe they skipped this chapter and didn't learn that material, right? So it's your opportunity to show me, here's what I learned, and I'm applying it to this. So what's going to happen is in this first chapter, you're going to learn about good sampling methods and how to survey and what are good surveys and bad surveys and all this kind of stuff. And you're going to come up with survey questions, just whatever it is you want to know about, right? You're going to come up with a topic that has some related questions in it. Everyone from the class will submit their questions to me, and I'll make a big survey. Could be, sometimes there's 120 questions on it, which still doesn't take that long. It takes like 10 minutes at that point. Then you're all going to take the survey. Everyone in the class will take the survey. And then you will have data sets to work from for your project. Okay? So here's what you need to do in the near future. In fact, I can change this right now since this is available. Let's edit this. Let's give everyone a few days to do this first one. Let's make this November. Let's give you till Sunday to do this. So this step gets a little confusing for students. So I want you to listen closely because it definitely causes some confusion for students. You need to form groups in this class. This class especially needs to form groups because you're all going to be moving so fast that if you get confused on something, in this class, you do not have the luxury of waiting 5 days until we have another class meeting to ask me the question. You're now going to be chapters behind, right? So you need to form groups of people that you will be working with on the project and then also working with for your homework, right? You really got to do it. Some people choose to work on their own, and that's fine, but this class is going to be very challenging. You really need to form groups, and you're going to form groups in this discussion board. Where did it go? Oops, it's down here. So at the end of chapter 1, you're going to come in here in these groups, and you're just going to mention who's in your group. Now, what I will say is every one of these assignments, like here's the most important thing that people don't read. Each group member must leave a posting or comment in order to get credit. What you can't do, like you're all working together in groups to help each other, but your projects are still individual projects. You will do your own project, but you can get together with your group and share ideas and what you learned and figure out what's working and what isn't working to make that project work. But see this highlighted line here? Each group member must leave a posting in order to get credit. I'm still getting emails in classes where someone will say, oh, well, why didn't I get credit? Jennifer mentioned that I'm in her group. Well, did you leave a posting? No, I didn't leave a posting because I'm in Jennifer's group. Okay, well, it says right here, each group member must leave a posting in order to get credit. So you can't just, because basically what we get then is in a group of 4, we get 2 people doing all the work, sometimes 1 person doing a lot of the work. Sometimes in a group of 4 people are working. But we definitely get this imbalance of some people like doing the work for everyone else. Everyone's doing their own project. Everyone has to complete these discussions themselves. Okay. But yes, form groups where you're all going to help each other, because I guarantee you, every one of you at some point in this class, probably multiple times in this class, is going to get very stressed out because you're going to get confused and you're not going to know exactly what you're supposed to do. And every day that goes by in this class, you're getting like dangerously behind. So it's really helpful if you have a group and you can text someone and say, hey, I'm freaking out over regressions. I don't think I'm doing it right. Can you help me out? And then, you get together with someone in your group and you figure it out together and you get help, right? And of course, you're welcome to come to me, office hours, that kind of stuff. But, a lot of you are on weird schedules and I'm not available at 10 o'clock at night on a Thursday or something, So it's helpful to have that group. Okay, but remember, I can't stress this enough because I know I'm going to get emails over it. Each group member must leave a posting in order to get credit. Every one of you makes your own comment in these discussion boards, okay? Because the way it grades is it just goes through and shows me your stuff. And then, okay, this person left a comment. It looks like it's legit, 10 points. This person, yep, legit. Don't go in there and post a cookie recipe or something like that. I read it, make sure you did what you're supposed to do, give you points, right? I'm not going to cross-reference I'm on so-and-so's group. You got to leave your own thing, okay? All right, so make sure you're doing that. So basically start at the top, work down through the lessons and assessments, and then be aware that there are a couple things at the end relating to the project that have separate due dates. So make sure you're watching those. In fact, these are due on the 8th. I guess I should make this one the 8th as well. Let's make it the 8th. Okay, so what I recommend, here's what I find works pretty good. You're all doing your own project, but if you form a group, kind of come up with an idea. That way you're all kind of working on the same thing. You don't have to. You can totally pick your own topic, but pick something, that you're interested in. So here's examples of topics I've seen in the last 2 years. And then we've been doing this for 3 years with the projects, but the last 2 years especially. A lot of COVID projects. Someone might say, I've seen stuff that is, how many hours a week did you work before COVID? How many hours a week do you work after, during COVID? A lot of, how many units did you take before COVID? How many units do you take now? how much time do you spend on studying? There's a lot of that kind of stuff, a lot of health stuff. A lot of people want different areas of health, a lot of questions about people's eating habits, questions about people's exercise habits, questions about health-related COVID habits, vaccine questions. Some people have some people have done things on, the environment. We've had a number of projects about climate change and what are people's attitudes about climate change and what do they think and is climate change related to this, and different types of questions that were well done. We've had some things that were topical. One group of people that were sort of future policemen were trying to ask about, this was during the protests that were last year. People trying to look at people's attitudes about police officers and stuff like that. That project ended up being a little biased, but the way it was conducted. But they were trying, and you can get into whatever topics you want, as long as it's school appropriate. Remember, everything that's done in this course, whether it's on the YouTube channel, whether it's in Zoom, whether it's on the discussion boards in Canvas, all of that is considered part of the class. So anything that you say to someone else or to me, it's as if we're in the classroom and you're saying those things, and all kind of rules that the school would have, if we were on campus, they hold here. So, even if it's on the YouTube stream and you say something offensive or inappropriate or whatever to someone else in the class, it still would be dealt with in that same manner. It would go to a, if it was bad enough, I would have to report it to a dean, and then there would be a follow-up, and they would decide, what to do in that situation. So basically, don't do that, right? You all have this pretty big challenge ahead of you. You're all in the same boat, which is you need to get through this in one piece. Just work together. Basically be good humans. Help each other out. Form your groups. Be cooperative. Try to be someone in the group who's trying. Don't try to be the one who's like, how can I do the least amount of work in this group? Just think, no, there's 4 of us here. We're all going to do what we can to get each other through this course successfully. Okay? So do that basically. So you come up with topics and then come up with a series of questions. Now, you don't know what this stuff means yet probably because we haven't gotten there, but you're going to pick some survey questions, right? And again, what's the number one sentence in front of the survey questions? Everybody needs to leave a posting in order to get credit. This will start to make sense to you as you do chapter 1. So that's why this will be due right after chapter 1, because you can't do this until you've done chapter 1. You need a minimum of 5 questions. If you want to do more, go ahead. Don't go crazy like a dozen questions. 5 ought to do it. You need 2 quantitative questions. Quantitative questions, as you will learn, number questions, even more specifically measurement questions, right? Phone number is not really quantitative. It's more of a label. Quantitative means you're measuring something. Age. How old are you? You're measuring someone's age. How tall are you? How much do you weigh? Right? These are numbers that correspond to measurements. You need at least 2 of those. If you don't have 2 quantitative questions, then you can't do your regression. And that's a chunk that will be noticeably missing from your project. So you want at least 2 quantitative questions. 2 categorical questions. Categorical questions are responses that are not measurements or numerical. So something like eye color, right? So do you kind of see the difference here? Numerical, how old are you? Categorical or what's called qualitative. Sometimes people mix those words up. Quantitative is like quantity. Qualitative is the quality, like the character of something. So categorical or qualitative questions, eye color, right? You got blue, brown, green, right? Just a few eye colors, and you fall in one of those boxes. You fall in a category. I fall in the brown-eyed individuals, right? Some people fall in the blue-eyed category. So that's categorical. And then you need one 2-choice question, right? Because we get into some binomial stuff, bi meaning 2. So basically a yes, no, true, false, agree, disagree, something like that, some kind of question. If you do at least those 5, then you should be able to use all the tools available to you in the course. You can do statistical confidence intervals, hypothesis testing. You can do regressions and correlation. You can put all of that stuff into your project. And then when I watch it, I'll see, oh, this person knows what they're doing. They just showed me a regression and they talked about it, in the appropriate way. They know what they're doing. They just talked to me about a hypothesis test and they did it correctly, right? Believe me, you want to learn it because it comes through when I'm watching these videos who tried to memorize what to say and doesn't really understand it versus the people who understand what they're talking about. It's hard to fake that in a video. So just do your best to learn it. You can come, when you have questions, come to my office hours. I have office hours Monday, this is in the syllabus, Monday from 11 to 2 on Zoom, and Tuesday, Thursday from 8:50 to 10 on Zoom. Now on Tuesday and Thursday, 8:50 to 10, that's immediately starting after one class and ending right when my next class starts. So don't come at 9:55 and think I can help you for like 15 minutes because I have a class that starts at 10. So, at least show up like 15 minutes early or something, and then I can help you out with that question. The Tutor Center is also working hard to make sure they have statistics tutors. So you can go to, my understanding, this is a thing that's changing by the week. My understanding is the tutoring center on campus has tutors in it. But again, some of you may or may not be able to get on campus depending on your vaccine situation and if you have uploaded your vaccine card to the school. By the way, if you're taking classes on ground in the spring, just upload your vaccine card now. There's going to be a huge rush of people trying to do that at the beginning of the semester, and you're going to have to wait till they get everything figured out. So I would just upload your vaccine card now. It's just easy in the app. You use the app, you take a picture, then they approve it. Right. So that's let's see, what was I saying? Right. So we'll talk more about these questions as it gets closer, but you can at least have them in the back of your head. Start thinking about a topic, form your groups, and in your group, start thinking about a topic you want to talk about. And you don't have to limit yourselves to what I talked about. It's just COVID, exercise, eating. Those are like big ones. But then there's, other habits that you can study. If there's anything that you want to find out about, what kind of vehicles people drive, or do people take the bus, or do they ride share, or, what's going on with that. You can come up with whatever topic you want. Over here on the left, this My Lab and Mastering button, that's the homework. Oops, I'm pointing at right here, My Lab and Mastering. That's the homework. So when you click that, mine looks a little different because I'm the teacher, but yours will look similar to this once you get it set up. You'll go in here, and it will take you to the class, and then basically you can set up your 14-day free trial, and then once you've dealt with the bookstore, you can set up your permanent free license, and you'll go through there. But what you won't do is actually do the homework through My Math Lab. I know it seems kind of confusing. Do not go to the Pearson website and sign up that way. I'll get 1 or 2 emails a semester where people say, oh, I need the course code. That's because you're going directly to Pearson. Don't do that. Go through here. And once you have it set up, I know in other classes you may go, oh, every time I have to go here to get into it. Actually, if you look at the way it's set up, you will do the homework right here in Canvas. So like when you click 1.1 lesson, it says, depending on how you have your browser set up, it says, oh, do you want to, mine's a little different because I'm the teacher, but it says, oh, do you want to get into it? Okay, start assignment. See how I'm still in Canvas when I'm doing this? If you're not, then something's not right. So it gets into it. It tells you what you're doing. There's a little video probably. Yep, see, here's a little video. You'll watch the little video. And then when you get through it, then it says, okay, I want to make sure you actually watched that video. Answer this question. And you're going to play that kind of game to get through stuff, okay? So you should be, like I say, you start at the top module, chapter 1, just work your way down once you get it set up. There's a question here. Let me see. Let me refresh this again. Some of these dates have not updated. I'm not sure why. I'm going to have to figure out why these later chapters didn't update. How many people could be in a group? I would say no more than 4. I mean, part of it, I guess we don't have to be too strict about it because you all have to do your own project anyways. So it's not like you can really just sort of freeload off someone else's work because they're turning in their own work and you have to turn in your work. So I would recommend 4 or less. Once you go past 4, you kind of get a diminishing returns type of a deal. And just a tip, I just find in general the people who get in there and form their group sooner are the ones who are probably the go-getters a little bit. So you might want to, the people who act soon are going to have a benefit, right? In fact, there's research that says is the entire human race, one of the biggest things holding us back is just procrastination in general. So it's not just students, but one of the big things that holds students back is procrastination. There's lots of other things society-wise that hold students back, but procrastination's a big one. Don't procrastinate. The sooner you get in there and get this stuff done, it does a couple things. One, you do a better job, right? When you're trying to do work at the last minute because you're frantic and just trying to get it in to get credit, it's not going to be as good a quality as if you had done it properly and turned it in the day before. So it's not like you shouldn't be racing the clock to like beat the, I got it in by the due date. Well, was it good? Well, no, because I was kind of rushing. I had work Friday night, so then I had to come home, and then I had to get this done really quick and get it in before midnight when it was due. It's not really very good, but I got it in on time. That's not really a good path to be on. So try to do stuff ahead of time a little bit. Not sure why these dates aren't updating. They should be all proper in the right one, right? 5-week, yeah. I'll take a look at that after class. So work your way down through these, do the assessment, the lesson, then the assessment, and then do these at the bottom. So in your group, pick whatever, have a discussion, figure out what you want your survey to be on. At some point in a week or so, pretty soon, you'll submit your survey questions to me. I'll make that massive survey. You'll all take it, and then you'll have your data. We really need people to take it. In fact, this time, because in my 12-week class, I was just hoping people would take it, which is kind of what people have done for 2 years. But in that class, since there wasn't directly getting points for it, people weren't real good about taking it. We had like 50% of people take it, which is way too low. So I think I'm going to have to set something up so you can prove with the screenshot that you took the survey. The survey, when you take it, is anonymous. And I actually like that because, sometimes people ask questions about, gender, and then you've got, male, female, non-binary, whatever kind of questions come up, people tend to feel more comfortable if they know it's anonymous. So I don't think there is a way to set it up where I can like automatically give you points for taking the survey. So what I'm probably going to do is set it up where when you're at the end of the survey, you take a screenshot, send it to me, and then I'll give you credit for having done the survey, right? So you'll get some points that way, since the other class couldn't see to take the survey the proper way, since there were no points on the line. So we'll do that, and we'll move quickly. Most of our meetings, I'm probably going to be talking a lot about the project to keep you moving along and successful on that, because that's about all we have time for, honestly. And then you're going to get most of your statistical understanding from these lessons in here and doing the homework. But by all means, if you have questions, come to office hours, go to the tutoring center, and we can get you the help that you need, because it's going to move fast. And there's a lot of subtleties that are easy to miss in statistics, right? I kind of wonder if it's even possible to pick up all those subtleties in 5 weeks, but we'll all do our best, right? We'll do our best to get through stuff. So pay attention to the due dates of things. I don't know why it's not it updated for this first group, but not the rest. That's kind of strange, but I'll take a look at it after class. Let's see, what else is in the syllabus? We've got my office, which doesn't matter. For the first half of the semester, they were making us do 3 of our office hours on campus, which is a little wild because 100% of my classes are online. Why would students go to campus if they're taking an online class? And the answer is they didn't. But we've now been, the union sort of pressed hard, I think. And so all of my office hours get to be on Zoom now. So they're listed here. The final exam, you have to submit it. You have to submit your final exam by the due date. This isn't even a rule I have. The way I have this project outlined in the course, it's like your final exam. My dean considers this project your final exam. right? They actually like that we're doing projects instead of exams, but that it's considered the final exam. So I'm not allowed to take final exams late. There's like a whole petition thing you have to go through, because otherwise we get into issues of treating students fairly. If I let some people turn it in late, but then other people I don't, it becomes a whole problem. So in order to avoid all that, you got to make sure that project's in on time. If it's not in on time, you will get a 0 and then you won't pass the class. Okay? So make sure it's in on time. Make sure you're going. The other assignments are like that too, right? I get emails from students that are like, oh, this was due at 11:59 and I was trying to turn it in at 12:05. Well, it was due at 11:59. Usually I give pretty generous due dates where I give you like a couple weeks to work on stuff. Unfortunately, in here, we just don't have time. The whole class is only 5 weeks. So a little tougher. 50% of your grade is homework, 50% is the project. Okay, now part of that project is these along the way. So, whoops, let's extend that. Where did it go? Oh, because I'm in it right now. Let's see if I close that out. Part of the project is these grades right here, right? See these that you get 10 points for? Those are part of your project score. These will add up to a little less than half of the total project, these assignments along the way that I'm giving you 10 points for. So that's a pretty easy way to get credit, start building that good grade for your project. Do be aware, I'm pretty, as long as it looks like you did an honest effort to do these, I generally give full credit for this. Like if I look at it and go, okay, this person doesn't really understand what they're doing yet, but they tried, I'm going to give you full credit. Don't mistake the full credit for meaning you did a work. You're probably going to want to refine the stuff a little bit when you go back and actually put your project together. So for example, when it comes down to project visuals, you may submit some stuff. You're going to put you go, oh, I got a couple of histograms, I got a frequency table, I got a pie chart, I got some dot plots, and I got some box plots, and you put them up there. I'll look at it and go, okay, it looks like you did an honest job here, and probably give you 10 points. That doesn't mean that your project visuals are great. It just means that I see that you're working on it and you're progressing. But by the end, you hopefully will be better with all of this stuff in week 5 than you are in like week 2, right? So before you throw it in your final project, just look at it again and go, oh, I can do a little better now, right? The nice thing about StatCrunch is it's an instant to make a new visual. You want to make a new histogram? Okay, you go in and make it. Oh, I don't like that. I'm going to change it a little bit. Boom. It's just instantaneous. So they're very easy to make. So what I'm saying is with all of these, before you throw it in the final project, just look at it and make sure there's not little improvements you can make, okay? Like I say, don't mistake the full credit along the way for meaning that it's really good. It's just that I'm recognizing, okay, you just learned correlation like a day ago, so I'm being a little bit lenient on the grading here. All right, does that make sense? Let's see, there was a question. Did I address that? Yeah, okay, good, I did. Let's see. So we have stuff along the way, and then we get to, so there's 10 total chapters culminating with the end of the course then. Let's go back to the syllabus. The grading scale is your typical 90, 80, 70, 60 as far as the A, B, C, D, that kind of stuff. I do have an email address on here. I would prefer, I respond to emails too, but it's kind of nice if you message me through Canvas, mainly because if you message me through Canvas, it tells me what class you're in, which saves me a bunch of time, right? Because a lot of times students don't give a lot of information. They'll just say, can you give me a homework extension? Like, that's the whole email. And it's like, well, I don't know what class you're in. I don't know what homework assignment you're talking about. Like, if you're going to message me, give me lots of information. Too much information is better than not enough, okay? Because otherwise I'm going to have to email you back and say, which homework assignment are you talking about? Like, which problem is it that you're having trouble with, right? Some people will say, oh, I'm having trouble with confidence intervals. Well, that's a whole chapter. You're going to have to give me a little more information than that if you want me to be able to help you, right? So send me a detailed message. If you do it through Canvas and it shows me right what class you're in, that saves me a bunch of time right there, and I can get back to you sooner, and I can get back to more messages sooner if you let me know what class you're in. And that happens automatically in Canvas. If you email me, it's okay. It's not going to bother me, but please give me that information. Say, remember, I have 3 different statistics classes where they're all on a different point. So if you say, oh, I'm in your Tuesday, Thursday noon statistics class, okay, good. I know exactly what we're talking about then. And then you tell me the homework you're looking at, or, whatever it is. Give me lots of details. Because if I don't have enough information, I can't really help you. All right. So do that. Homework's done through Canvas. Make sure, like I showed you, you should be seeing Canvas as you're doing the homework. Okay. I'll talk more about the project as the semester continues. Behavior, we said, it's basically same behavior that we would have in the classroom. ADA statements, we don't really have tests, so for the most part, that's probably doesn't affect too many people. If you know what the ADA statement is all about, you got to work through the EAC campus, on campus, and then they give me the paperwork for whatever you need. If you don't know what that's about, it probably doesn't pertain to you probably. But here's the information if you need to get a hold of the EAC so that you can get your accommodations taken care of. And then, because we have to do it in the proper manner, again, to make sure that we're treating everyone in the appropriate way. Then there's course description, student learning outcomes. You don't really need to know those because you're taking the class. Actually, the reason we put these in our syllabus is so that, if you transfer to Channel Islands or UCSB, they know us. They know VC and they know our statistics class, and they're going to know whether they take it as transfer or not. If you go to some school on the East Coast, they don't know who Ventura College is. They don't know anything about us. You're going to want to show them the syllabus and say, here's what we covered. And they go, okay, looks like a legitimate stats class. And then they, decide to accept it or whatever. Or they don't. Let's see. Got a few more minutes to go. Are there any questions? I tried to cover most of the stuff. Are there questions that people have? You feel free to throw them in chat. If you're in Zoom, feel free to unmute yourself. Oh, with Zoom, just so you know, it's pretty standard that you stay muted unless you're speaking. So I have it set up so when you come into the Zoom, you're automatically muted. But that's just, it's not to be rude or to tell you can't speak. By all means, you can still raise your hand. There's a little raise hand button in Zoom, or you can get my attention. We do that because, as you can imagine, each of you probably has a little bit of noise in your rooms. Someone has an air conditioner running. Someone has a dog that comes in and starts barking. Someone has kids that are running around and screaming. If we get all that in Zoom, it's super distracting. So, and we do this, it's not because you're students. We do this in our own meetings, right? I go to meetings on Zoom, and when I'm not speaking, I'm muted because otherwise the audio is madness, especially for, someone like me who's sort of audio can distract me if there's lots of dogs and doors closing and your significant other walks in the room and starts talking to you and stuff, and then all of a sudden this whole Zoom meeting is hearing that. So generally you want to stay muted, but by all means, if you have something to say or you have a question, feel free to unmute yourself and speak up, right? Because I expect there's going to be questions about the project. You should speak up so that I can clarify for you, right? It's going to be a lot easier if you ask me the question and I answer it rather than you be kind of intimidated and then people in your group don't know, we don't know. We didn't get this question answered. How are we supposed to do this? It's much better if you ask me in class and then I can answer your question or in office hours and I can answer that for you and then we get it all squared away so you know what the expectations are. Okay. So I think we actually got through everything in one day. I think part of it is just because we are going to be moving so fast in this class. There's not really much time for being relaxed and casual. So what you need to focus on day one, get your homework set up. So that My Lab and Mastering over here on the left, go in there. Remember, you can all do it right now for free without even going to the bookstore. You can set up your free 14-day access, but it will cut you off after 14 days. It won't even let me check your scores after 14 days. When it cuts you off, I can't even go in and see what homework assignments you did previously, right? It literally is like you don't exist. So before that 14 days ends, work with the bookstore to get your free access for the whole semester, right? That's pretty good. This software costs somewhere in the neighborhood of $100. So you each saved $100 because the school is picking up the tab for you. So get that done. You cannot progress. Every day that goes by where you don't have this set up is a day you are getting behind. And I can't stress this enough. You're going to be working so fast in this class. You do not want to be behind even a day. So please try to get that taken care of as soon as you can. Okay? And get that set up. Right. And I'll figure out why only part of these dates updated. I'll get that fixed right away. I do have to be somewhere at 1:45, but if I don't get it done before my appointment, I will come back right afterwards and fix that and figure out what's going on. So priority number 1 for you, get the homework set up. Priority number 2, if you have any questions or concerns about the course, talk to me, and I can try to help you out with that. And then start working on this stuff. Start moving through chapter 1 and start forming your groups and figure out what your topic's going to be for the project. What are your survey questions going to be? Okay. So in this class, there's no such thing as doing something too soon, right? It's likely to be the opposite, where it's hard to keep up and people are doing stuff too late. So the thing about homework assignments and due dates, you can still do the My Math Lab homework assignments late, but you get half credit. Okay, so you don't have to say like, oh, can I get an extension? You can still do them, but you only get half the points. So it's in your best interest to get them done on time, but you can still get at least some points if I know how it is. Stuff's hard sometimes, right? Jobs and family and that kind of stuff, trying to get it done. So you can still work on it after the fact. Like I said, these videos, the YouTube videos, get put in a playlist on YouTube. So you can go in there and just, if you need to go back and think about something I said, or you want to see what I talked about or something, just go back and you can rewatch the video. Or if you missed class, you can watch the video the first time later in the day. But you definitely want to be watching them. Missing those videos is going to lead you to not know what the expectations are for the project, which is going to lead to a poor project score. Okay, because the way we're moving in this class, I'm probably going to have to talk about the project pretty much every day we meet, so that you can be working on that and moving forward. And I don't want to intimidate anyone with the project. It's totally doable if you're learning the material for the course. It's totally doable, but it does take some discipline to keep on top of preparing yourself to have that work done by the end of the semester. Okay, so here's how we generally end class. Unless anyone has a question, I'm not seeing any questions show up in chat. The way I usually end class is that I will close down the YouTube stream, but I will leave the Zoom meeting open for a few minutes. So that gives people an opportunity to hop into Zoom and talk to me face-to-face, or, whatever I guess this is face-to-face, whatever the digital version of face-to-face is. So you can hop into Zoom and ask me questions. So if you have a particular question that you didn't want to ask during the stream or during class, hop into Zoom right now and ask me, and I'll do my best to answer the question for you. Otherwise, I'll see you in 2 days, and we'll start moving things along, and we'll start getting into actual stuff. Here's my hope. When we meet in 2 days from now, all of you will have set up the homework, right? You will have set up your account and hopefully even started chapter 1. That would be awesome. I know it's not realistic. 100% of you aren't going to do that, but I highly recommend that you do it. That way, if there's some kind of an issue, you can ask me about it on Thursday and I can help you. Otherwise, you're going to be waiting until Tuesday, and that's 20% of the course is gone. I mean, each week that goes by, that's 20% of the course, right? So you don't want to get 20% behind because you procrastinated a little bit. So that's how we'll do things. Okay, thanks.